You've probably been told that losing muscle is just a normal part of getting older, that after 60 or 65 your body just starts to shrink, your strength fades, and there's not much you can do about it. But what if I told you that your morning cup of coffee could actually help reverse that decline if you added one simple thing to it? Muscle loss after 65 isn't just about aging, it's about inflammation. It's about poor nutrient signaling, and it's about missing the right fuel at the right time, especially when your body is most ready to absorb and use it. Sarcopenia, the technical name for age-related muscle loss, is not just a cosmetic issue. It's one of the strongest predictors of frailty, falls, insulin resistance, and even early mortality. But the good news is, your body is not broken. It's simply underfed at the cellular level. What's happening in your body isn't a lack of protein alone, it's a lack of muscle building signal. That signal requires key nutrients, timing, and a balance between catabolic and anabolic states. Your morning routine is a perfect window of opportunity. Why? Because your cells are primed for nutrient absorption. Because cortisol is naturally higher in the morning, helping mobilize energy, and because coffee in the right form can actually enhance muscle repair and fat metabolism if you use it correctly. But here's where most people go wrong. They drink black coffee on an empty stomach, spike their cortisol, skip breakfast, and then wonder why they feel jittery, weak, or crash by midday. They missed the chance to nourish the body when it's actually asking for support. And what's worse, they may be accelerating muscle breakdown, not slowing it down. Now imagine this: instead of stripping your muscle tissue every morning with nothing but caffeine, you used your coffee as a vehicle to deliver a powerful anti-sarcopenian nutrient, one that helps you retain lean mass, boost mitochondrial function, reduce inflammation, and gently switch your body into a more anabolic repair-focused state. This isn't a supplement ad. This is real nutritional biochemistry, and it's one of the most overlooked opportunities for healthy aging. Today we're going to unpack what that nutrient is, why your muscle cells respond so strongly to it after age 60, and how to combine it with your morning coffee to turn an everyday habit into a powerful longevity tool. Along the way, we'll explore how muscle mass is regulated by your hormones, how to reduce catabolic stress after sleep, and how one small change in your morning routine can protect your independence, your strength, and even your cognitive clarity. If you care about sleeping deeper, healing faster, and aging with energy, make sure to watch until the end, and subscribe so you don't miss the natural wisdom your body is craving. Your muscles don't just grow from eating protein. They grow when a very specific signal is triggered. That signal is leucine, not whey protein, not just calories. Leucine is the amino acid that acts like a switch, and after age 60, that switch becomes harder to flip. This is one of the biggest reasons seniors lose muscle, even when they're eating enough protein overall. Let me explain what's happening in your body. Every time you eat, especially protein, your digestive system breaks down the food into amino acids. These amino acids circulate in your bloodstream and are absorbed into cells. Among them, leucine plays a unique role. When your muscle cells detect a high enough concentration of leucine, it activates a molecular pathway called mTOR, short for mammalian target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as your body's internal construction crew. When it's activated, the body begins building tissue, repairing damage, and forming new muscle fibers. But here's the catch: as you age, your muscle cells become less sensitive to that leucine signal. That means the same amount of protein that worked for you in your 30s or 40s may no longer be enough to stimulate mTOR. This is called anabolic resistance. It's one of the main reasons people over 65 can lose 3–5% of their muscle mass each decade, even if their diet hasn't changed. So what can you do? You don't need to double your protein intake. You just need to optimize your leucine intake and time it properly. Here's where your morning coffee comes in. Most people drink coffee first thing in the morning, often on an empty stomach. That's also when your body is coming out of an overnight fast, which means you're in a catabolic or breakdown state. If you don't interrupt that process with the right nutrients, your body continues to pull energy from your muscle tissue. But if you pair your coffee with a leucine-rich addition, like a high-quality collagen peptide powder that's been fortified with leucine, you give your muscle cells the exact signal they've been waiting for. Studies show that older adults need about 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal to effectively stimulate mTOR and muscle protein synthesis. Most standard protein servings fall below that, especially when it comes to breakfast. That's why adding a functional protein source directly to your morning coffee can make such a profound difference. Now some people ask, Can I just take leucine as a supplement? Technically yes, but isolated amino acids without their cofactors often lead to imbalances, digestive upset, or low absorption. That's why whole food-based or collagen-blended sources are often better tolerated and more bioavailable, especially when taken with a warm beverage that increases circulation and nutrient delivery. Another important note: the muscle-building effects of leucine are amplified when insulin is slightly elevated. That doesn't mean you need to spike your blood sugar. It simply means that a small amount of healthy fat or a bit of low-carb nourishment with your leucine source can help shuttle those amino acids into the muscle more efficiently. This is where MCT oil or grass-fed butter in coffee comes into play, which we'll discuss more in the next section. But for now, here's the key takeaway. Your body is not broken. It's waiting for the right signal, and leucine is the key to unlocking that muscle-preserving process. By delivering a leucine-rich compound first thing in the morning, in a form your body can absorb and use, you're telling your muscles, we're still growing, we're still strong, we're not done yet. This approach is not about bulking up, it's about maintaining function, preserving the ability to walk confidently, rise from a chair, carry groceries, and protect your bones. And when you start your day with the nutrients that matter most, your body listens. If this is helping you see muscle health and aging in a new light, tap the like button. Helps us reach more people who need this kind of wisdom, because muscle loss is not inevitable, and your body deserves the tools to thrive. Once you understand that your muscles respond to signals, not just calories, it opens the door to a more intelligent way to nourish your body. And one of the most powerful ways to send that signal each morning is through what you add to your coffee. Collagen and MCT oil might not sound like muscle-building tools, but together they support two of the most essential systems for seniors: your muscular integrity and your metabolic resilience. Let's begin with collagen. As we age, our body naturally produces less collagen. That's why skin begins to sag, joints start to ache, and tendons become more prone to injury. But collagen isn't just a beauty or joint supplement. It plays a critical role in preserving your muscle structure, especially the connective tissue that surrounds and stabilizes your muscle. When you support this framework, you improve strength, coordination, and recovery. Collagen is rich in amino acids like glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, amino acids you don't get in high amounts from standard muscle meat. These amino acids help rebuild fascia, cartilage, and tendon fibers, structures that become especially vulnerable after 60. Many older adults lose muscle not just from atrophy, but from connective tissue degradation that leads to pain, instability, or limited mobility. Now here's where your coffee comes in. Collagen powder dissolves beautifully in hot liquids, making it an easy and digestible addition to your morning routine. It doesn't spike insulin, it provides structural proteins, and if it's paired with leucine or consumed in adequate volume, it can even contribute to muscle protein synthesis. But collagen alone isn't enough. You need something that supports your metabolism, especially during the fragile post-fasting window. That's where MCT oil comes in. MCTs, or medium-chain triglycerides, are fats that are rapidly absorbed and converted into ketones by your liver. Unlike long-chain fats, MCTs don't require bile to be digested, which makes them ideal for aging digestion. They're used almost immediately by your cells for energy, and they have a muscle-sparing effect, especially when you're in a semi-fasted state, like early morning. When you add MCT oil to your coffee, you provide a clean, steady energy source that doesn't rely on blood sugar. This is crucial for preventing muscle breakdown. Why? Because when the body lacks fuel, it often pulls amino acids from muscle tissue to create glucose, a process called gluconeogenesis. MCT oil interrupts that process. It tells the body, there's energy here, no need to tear down muscle. This is especially helpful if you're using intermittent fasting or skipping breakfast. Even a tablespoon of MCT oil in your morning coffee can extend the benefits of fasting while protecting your lean tissue. It's like giving your cells a gentle push into fat-burning mode, without the stress that often comes from prolonged fasting in older adults. The combination of collagen and MCT oil in coffee isn't just convenient, it's synergistic. One feeds your structure, the other fuels your metabolism. One supports tendon and joint health, the other preserves muscle by stabilizing energy demands. And when combined with the mild stimulant effect of caffeine, This blend increases blood flow, enhances nutrient delivery, and wakes up your nervous system, all without overwhelming your body. Now you might wonder, why not just eat a high-protein breakfast instead? The answer is, you absolutely can. And for some people that's the right choice. But many older adults struggle with appetite in the morning, or find it hard to digest heavier meals first. A nutrient-enhanced coffee gives you a gentle, digestible, and powerful way to start the day, especially when chewing and digestion may be slower with age. And there's one more hidden benefit. Glycine, the dominant amino acid in collagen, promotes deeper sleep and improves glutathione production, your body's master antioxidant. That means what you do in the morning with collagen can improve what happens at night when your body shifts into repair mode. You don't need a shelf full of supplements. You don't need to radically change your diet. You just need to be strategic. What your muscles need after 65 is not volume, it's precision. It's about targeting the nutrients that send the strongest signals at the times when your body is most receptive. If this is giving you clarity on how your morning habits affect your muscle health, hit the like button. And if you're new here, subscribe, because we're not just chasing youth, we're learning how to age with strength, clarity, and confidence. You may not realize it, but every night while you sleep, your body enters a kind of quiet survival mode. It's peaceful on the outside, but inside, there's a careful balancing act taking place between repair and resource management. Your organs are detoxifying, your brain is consolidating memory, and your muscles, well, they're being broken down. This might sound alarming, but it's not a mistake. Your body is designed to shift into a catabolic state overnight. That simply means it's breaking down stored material, mostly fat and glycogen, to provide fuel for repair processes and brain function while you rest. But here's the critical point. If your body doesn't have enough available energy, it starts to borrow from a very precious resource, your muscle. This is especially important after age 60, because your ability to rebuild that muscle becomes slower and less efficient. And the longer you stay in that overnight breakdown state, without proper replenishment in the morning, the more your body chips away at lean tissue just to keep your systems running. So what's really happening here? From the moment you fall asleep, your insulin levels drop, your digestive system goes quiet, and your body transitions into a fasting state. Growth hormone increases, which is helpful for repair, but without the presence of key amino acids or fuel, the body leans into gluconeogenesis. That's the process where amino acids from your muscle are converted into glucose for essential organs, especially your brain. By the time you wake up, your body is still in that catabolic state. Your cortisol levels are naturally elevated. They're supposed to be. This is part of your circadian rhythm. Cortisol helps you wake up, mobilize energy, and prepare for the day. But here's the problem. When cortisol rises and no fuel follows, your body stays in breakdown mode. That's why many seniors feel weak, shaky, or slow moving in the morning. It's not just age, it's biochemistry. Now imagine repeating this cycle day after day, waking up, drinking only black coffee, skipping food, and not replenishing the nutrients lost overnight. Over time, you end up accelerating muscle loss, increasing inflammation, and disrupting your metabolic balance. This is one of the most common yet misunderstood contributors to sarcopenia in older adults. But it doesn't have to be this way. When you understand your body's natural rhythms, you can work with them, not against them. And the most effective way to transition from a catabolic to an anabolic state in the morning is by giving your body the right message. We're safe, we're nourished, we can build. That message comes through nutrients, specifically a combination of high-quality amino acids, anti-inflammatory fats, and gentle metabolic fuel. This is why that first meal, or that first upgraded coffee, matters so much. It's not about eating a large breakfast, it's about signaling when you add collagen, MCT oil, or a small dose of leucine to your morning beverage, you do three powerful things at once. First, you interrupt overnight muscle breakdown. Second, you initiate muscle protein synthesis. And third, you calm the cortisol response that, if left unchecked, continues to degrade lean tissue. Let's go even deeper. Studies show that the morning is when your muscles are most sensitive to nutrient intake, especially if you've been fasting overnight. This means that even a moderate amount of the right nutrients can have a disproportionately positive effect on muscle retention, but only if they're delivered during that early anabolic window within 60 to 90 minutes of waking up.
Unfortunately, most people miss this window. They either delay food too long, eat empty carbohydrates, or consume coffee alone, which can further raise cortisol and blunt insulin signaling. That creates a prolonged catabolic state, leading to fatigue, poor blood sugar control, and ongoing tissue break. But when you shift your morning routine just slightly, when you feed your body strategically, not just habitually, you start to see changes in energy, strength, and resilience. You might notice you get out of chairs easier, your gait feels more stable, you're not as tired by midday. That's not just caffeine, that's metabolic balance. And remember, your body doesn't need a massive amount of food, it needs targeted nourishment. A well-crafted coffee with collagen and MCT oil, maybe a few grams of leucine, or essential amino acids, is often enough to shift you out of breakdown mode and back into repair. This isn't a diet trend, it's how your biology works. And once you begin to honor your body's morning signals, you'll find that the rest of the day flows more smoothly. Strength isn't built in the gym alone, it's protected in the hours right after you wake up. If this insight into overnight catabolism is helping you connect the dots, let us know in the comments, and share this with someone over 60 who still skips breakfast, thinking it's healthy. They might just be starving the very tissue they need to keep moving.
Most people drink coffee for energy, but what they often don't realize is that coffee, specifically caffeine, is not energy. It's a stimulant. It doesn't give you fuel. It tricks your body into using fuel faster. And that difference is crucial, especially if you're over 65 and trying to preserve muscle mass, not burn through it. You see, caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is the molecule that makes you feel tired. When you block it, your nervous system stays alert, your heart rate rises, and cortisol increases to mobilize stored energy. For younger people with resilient mitochondria and balanced hormones, this isn't usually a problem, but as we age, our stress response becomes more delicate, and the cost of stimulating the body without fuel becomes much higher. Here's the physiological reality. When caffeine enters the bloodstream, it increases blood flow, elevates cortisol, and raises the activity of the sympathetic nervous system. This is what gives you that alert, focused feeling. But it also signals to your cells that energy is needed now. If you don't provide that energy through nutrients, the body has to find it internally, and it will often pull from muscle amino acids to create glucose, especially in the absence of carbohydrates or fats. This is where amino acids become so important, because caffeine also increases nutrient uptake. When amino acids are present in the bloodstream alongside caffeine, they are absorbed more efficiently into muscle tissue. Your mitochondria, which are the tiny energy factories inside every muscle cell, become more active. They begin producing more ATP, your body's cellular energy currency. But this process requires raw material. Without those materials, especially leucine, glycine, and glutamine, caffeine stimulation is like revving an engine with no oil. You burn through your reserve. But when you combine caffeine with those building blocks, your morning coffee stops being just a pick-me-up and becomes a precision delivery system for healing, strength, and metabolism. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Research shows that caffeine improves insulin sensitivity in skeletal muscle. That means when you consume amino acids or a small amount of healthy fats along with caffeine, your cells are more likely to use those nutrients instead of storing them. This is incredibly valuable for older adults who want to preserve lean mass and prevent metabolic slowdowns. Let's go back to your coffee. Think about what happens when you drink it black on an empty stomach. Yes, you feel awake, but at what cost? Your cortisol rises, your blood sugar may drop, your nervous system enters a sympathetic state without compensation. And if your body isn't given the nutrients it needs to rebuild, repair, and recover, it slowly breaks down tissues to meet those demands. This is how sarcopenia speeds up under the radar. But imagine starting your day differently. You prepare your coffee and stir in a high-quality collagen peptide, maybe a tablespoon of MCT oil, and if your body tolerates it, a dash of Ceylon cinnamon, or a pinch of sea salt to support electrolyte balance. Suddenly, your coffee is no longer just a stimulant. It's a vehicle for muscle nourishment and mitochondrial activation. The caffeine amplifies the absorption. The collagen supplies structural amino acids. The MCT oil fuels your mitochondria direct, and your body receives the message. We're not just running, we're recovering, we're growing. You don't need to fear caffeine, but you do need to respect it. Used intentionally, caffeine can improve nutrient delivery, enhance cellular energy production, and even support brain function. But when used carelessly, especially in older adults, it becomes a silent thief, drawing from muscle and minerals you can't afford to lose. And if you're worried about disrupting your fasting routine, remember, a coffee enhanced with collagen and MCTs may still keep you in a fat-burning state while preserving your muscle tissue. It's not about breaking a fast, it's about breaking the cycle of nutrient depletion. The takeaway here is simple. Coffee is a tool. Like any tool, it can be destructive or healing, depending on how you use it. When paired with the right amino acids and fats, it becomes a powerful ally in the fight against sarcopenia, fatigue, and metabolic decline. If this perspective on caffeine and muscle is helping you reimagine your morning routine, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't yet subscribed, because your body isn't just reacting to what you eat, it's responding to how you support it. If you're like many people over 65, breakfast has probably gotten smaller over the years. A piece of toast, maybe a banana, a quick cup of coffee, and you're out the door. Or maybe not hungry at all until lunch. It seems harmless. But this quiet habit, repeated day after day, is one of the main reasons older adults lose muscle faster than they realize. Let's talk about something that's rarely discussed in mainstream health circles: your body's anabolic window. This is a specific time when your cells are especially responsive to the nutrients that help build and repair muscle. And it turns out for people over 60, the most important anabolic window is actually first thing in the morning. Here's what's happening in your body. Overnight, your system is in a catabolic state. It's breaking down tissues to provide energy for internal maintenance and brain activity. By the time you wake up, cortisol is elevated, insulin is low, and your muscle cells are in need of raw material. They're primed to absorb amino acids and begin the repair process, but only if those amino acids are actually delivered. This is where the problem starts. Older adults often eat the least amount of protein at breakfast, whether it's because of reduced appetite, poor digestion, or outdated advice about eating light. The result is the same. Your body misses the most efficient window to stimulate muscle growth. And over time, that missed opportunity leads to a slow, silent decline in strength, balance, and mobility. Research shows that adults over 65 may need as much as 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein in a single meal to fully trigger muscle protein synthesis. That's significantly more than what's needed at younger ages, and yet most seniors barely consume 10 to 15 grams in the morning, if any at all. That imbalance means your muscles stay in a breakdown mode until you finally eat enough protein, usually later in the day when your cells are less receptive to it. In practical terms, this means that even if you're getting enough protein across the entire day, the timing of that protein matters. Spread out evenly across meals, especially with a strong emphasis on the morning, you get a more sustained anabolic response. But if it's all packed into dinner, much of it ends up being oxidized, not used for muscle build. Now here's where your coffee can become a simple, yet powerful intervention. If your appetite is low in the morning, or if you've become used to eating very little, adding a collagen supplement or a protein-enhanced creamer to your coffee becomes a gentle and effective way to meet your morning protein need. Even better if it includes leucine, or is paired with a small whole food breakfast like pasture-raised eggs, or a protein-rich smoothie. You don't need to force-feed yourself a heavy breakfast, but you do need to make the morning count, because this is when your muscles are begging for nourishment. And the longer you wait, the less responsive your muscle tissue becomes throughout the day. It's a bit like watering a plant after it's already wilted. Sure, it helps, but how much better would it be if you watered it at the right time, before the damage started? When you shift even a small portion of your daily protein intake to the early part of the day, everything begins to align. Energy improves, balance becomes more stable, recovery feels faster. You're not just reacting to fatigue or weakness, you're proactively fueling your body's repair system. And here's something even more encouraging. You don't need to be perfect. Even moving just 10 to 15 grams of protein from dinner to breakfast can make a measurable difference in muscle preservation over time. It's a small shift, but one with exponential benefit. This isn't about rigid diets or overwhelming rules. It's about rhythm. Your body works in cycles, And when you learn to feed those cycles, especially the morning anabolic window, you stop fighting against time and start moving with it. If this part of the lecture is helping you rethink how you start your day, let us know with a like. And remember, muscle is not just about strength, it's about independence, metabolism, and brain health. And your morning coffee can either steal from it or support it. Intermittent fasting has become one of the most popular health tools in recent years, and for good reason. It can improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and enhance cellular repair. But for adults over 65, there's a delicate balance, because while fasting can extend health span, it can also, if misused, accelerate muscle loss. The key isn't whether you fast, it's how you break your fast. Let's look at what's happening inside your body during a fast. When you abstain from food for 12, 14, or even 16 hours, your insulin levels drop. This allows your body to switch from burning glucose to burning fat. Your cells begin to activate autophagy, a natural cleaning process that clears out damaged parts and resets your metabolic machinery. All of this is incredibly beneficial, especially for preventing age-related diseases. But there's something else happening beneath the surface. As you go longer without food, your body begins to rely on internal amino acids, often pulled from muscle, to maintain essential functions, like brain energy and blood sugar regulation. This process is natural, but as you get older, your ability to rebuild that lost muscle becomes compromised. In other words, extended fasting, without strategic refeeding, can lead to slow, quiet muscle erosion over time. This doesn't mean you should stop fasting. In fact, it can still be one of your greatest allies for longevity, if you know how to support your body when you break the fast. The first meal after a fast, what many call the breaking point, is one of the most important meals of the day, especially for muscle preservation. This is when your body is highly sensitive to nutrients. The cells are open, the receptors are ready, and the right combination of amino acids and fats can immediately shift your body into an anabolic state, into repair mode. Unfortunately, many people over 60 break their fasts with a quick carbohydrate, toast, fruit juice, maybe a muffin, or a bagel. It might feel comforting, but it's the wrong message. It spikes insulin without supplying the amino acids needed for rebuilding. You end up creating a metabolic crash, a short burst of energy, followed by fatigue and continued catabolism. Now picture a different approach. You break your fast, with coffee enhanced, with hydrolyzed collagen peptides, a tablespoon of MCT oil, and a scoop of essential amino acids, or a small protein-rich meal. That combination tells your body, we've got the materials, let's rebuild. The caffeine improves blood flow and nutrient uptake, the MCT oil provides clean fuel, and the amino acids stimulate muscle protein synthesis, all while keeping your blood sugar stable. Even if you're following a 16-8 intermittent fasting schedule, you can start your eating window with this nutrient-dense coffee or a protein smoothie. It's gentle on digestion, low in carbs, and gives your body the precise fuel it needs to recover from the fast, not just survive. And here's something few people talk about. Intermittent fasting doesn't need to be extreme to be effective. For adults over 65, a 12 to 14-hour overnight fast may be more sustainable and safer than longer fasts, because it still allows time for autophagy and insulin reset without putting excessive strain on muscle tissue or hormonal stability. When paired with smart refeeding, this rhythm supports both metabolic flexibility and muscle preservation. One of the most effective protocols we recommend is this. Stop eating by 7 or 8 p.m. Allow 12 to 13 hours of overnight fasting, then break your fast with intention. That means focusing on amino acids, healthy fats, and possibly adaptogenic herbs or minerals that support your nervous system. Your coffee becomes not just a comfort drink, but a recovery tool, a transition from detox into rebuild. Think of it this way. Fasting is the demolition crew, clearing out debris, creating space. But if you don't bring in construction materials after, nothing gets rebuilt. Your muscle stays in limbo, your energy remains low, and your recovery suffers. But when you use that post-fast meal to reintroduce clean, powerful nutrition, the body gets to work. Fasted repair followed by fed rebuilding. That's the cycle of true regeneration.
And you don't have to be perfect. Even adjusting your fast, just a few days per week, or modifying your morning coffee to include collagen and MCT oil, can create measurable change. You'll begin to feel it in your energy, in your grip strength, in your stability as you move throughout the day. These aren't miracles, they're simply the results of working with your body's natural biology, not against it. If this section helped you see fasting in a new light, not as deprivation, but as strategic recovery, be sure to subscribe, because aging isn't about doing less, it's about doing the right things, at the right time, with the right support. So let's bring everything together. If you're over 65, and you're noticing your muscles aren't what they used to be, your arms feel softer, your legs feel weaker, and your recovery after activity just isn't the same, there's something deeper going on. This isn't just age, it's biology calling out for a shift. You see, muscle loss after 60 isn't inevitable. It's the result of missed signals. Your body still wants to build muscle, but the spark, the trigger, has faded, and that spark is called leucine, the amino acid that flips on muscle protein synthesis. But here's the problem. As we age, our cells become resistant to leucine. Unless it reaches a certain threshold, that means a light breakfast, a piece of toast, or even a cup of plain black coffee isn't enough. You need a targeted signal, a surge of amino acids, especially leucine, early in the day to turn on the rebuilding process. And here's where your morning coffee can become your new secret weapon. Instead of just sipping caffeine to wake up, you can upgrade your cup to rebuild muscle, reduce inflammation, and fuel your metabolism. Add in hydrolyzed collagen peptides, rich in glycine and proline, to support your joints, tendons, and skin. Blend in MCT oil for fast-acting ketone energy that protects muscle and sharpens focus. And if you're feeling ambitious, a scoop of essential amino acids, or leucine powder, takes it even further. This isn't a gimmick, it's clinical nutrition, applied to daily life. It's functional medicine in a month. You're not just drinking coffee anymore, you're sending a message to your body. We're not breaking down today, we're building. This small habit works with your natural circadian rhythm, your hormonal shifts, and your recovery window after sleep. It stops overnight catabolism. It restarts growth. It helps your body hold on to strength and vitality, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. And let's not forget the bigger picture. When you support your muscles, you support your metabolism. When your muscles stay strong, your blood sugar stays stable, your bones stay protected, your posture improves, even your brain benefits. Muscle isn't just for athletes, it's for aging.